Welcome to the Premier League predictions. It's week 1 and I'm just incredibly hyped. There are some crazy games. Manchester United versus the Gunners. I mean, already I don't know who's going to win that. It's going to be a close one. Man United are undergoing loads of changes. Aston Villa versus Newcastle. The Isak situation and everything's definitely going to make that game very interesting. All of it coming up next. Let's get predicting. Also, my good friend ChatGPT and the random number generator is also going to be tuning in to see who's the best at predicting. Starting off on Friday night on the 15th of August, it's at Anfield, Liverpool versus Bournemouth. Milos Kerkez going against his former club, and Bournemouth obviously have lost quite a few of their players in the defence. Like Kerkez, as I mentioned, like Zabanye, like Hoyson. A lot of the players are gone, but they have brought in some replacements as well. So you have to remember that. They have recently bought a new centre-back as well. But against Liverpool at Anfield, on the first game, it's not going to go well, Bournemouth, I'm afraid. I have actually got you down to score 2 goals, Bournemouth, because I thought, despite Liverpool's defence being very good and all, against Crystal Palace in the Community Shield, it was a bit leaky, I'm just saying. So I am going to give you 2 goals, especially that your attack is still amazing, but you are conceding a lot. I mean, Liverpool have undergone so many changes. With Mohamed Salah and Wirtz, they're going to rip shreds. 4-2 at Anfield against AFC Bournemouth. Hold up a second. I believe Kluivert is injured coming into this game, and Liverpool still have a good defence despite them being a bit leaky against Crystal Palace. And if Altara goes, yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. I'm only going to give Bournemouth 1 goal actually, so I'm making it 4-1, not 4-2.
I think Liverpool are going to win 3-0 against Bournemouth. Opening at Anfield as reigning champions, Liverpool are launching the season under emotional circumstances, honouring Diogo Jota and flaunting fresh firepower like Florian Wirtz and Hugo Ekitike. Meanwhile, Bournemouth have lost key defenders and are already depleted by injuries, so expect a dominant home display by Liverpool and a clean sheet.
Over to the Saturday kickoffs, 16th of August. And it's at Villa Park. It's Aston Villa versus Newcastle United. A really interesting game this one is, because Aston Villa, it seems like each time they're at Villa Park, they beat Newcastle. And each time Newcastle's at St James's Park, Newcastle beats Aston Villa. And as a Newcastle fan, I'm not confident. Aston Villa are at home, and Aston Villa, I feel a bit more confident that if there would be a winner, it would be them. Because Newcastle don't have Isak. He's not gone, but he's not playing another game for us. We haven't brought in any strikers yet. I do feel like we are definitely going to get a striker like Johan Wissa, but right now, I'm not confident because we don't have a striker. We will definitely give it a good effort, and it will be definitely close, because you have to admit, the rest of the side is still here and is very good. And Alanga is definitely going to rip shreds. Even with Aston Villa not having Martinez in the net because he is suspended, I still feel like Aston Villa is going to win this. Pre-season has definitely downed me, but I'm still confident for the rest of the Newcastle season, because once we sign a striker and once we get going and once we get past these couple of hard games, we're going to be striving for top 5 100%. But I am going 2-0 to Aston Villa, because Newcastle United with their striker situation isn't looking good, and our pre-season without that striker has looked pretty poor. But it might be a good thing that I'm going against Newcastle United to lose, because last season, each time I went for Newcastle to lose, Newcastle went on to draw or win that game. So all I'm saying is Newcastle could definitely win if that keeps up. Future me, I don't think it's going to be 2-0, I think it's only going to be 1-0. It's going to be a bit more of a closer result. Newcastle have just stolen one of Aston Villa's players, Jacob Ramsey, and Newcastle still have a good defence, so 2-0 I felt like was a bit harsh. Come on the tune, prove me wrong, and prove the random number generator right, because that 8-1, that's definitely going to be a reality.
Both tipped for the top 6, but Villa have home advantage and a strong historical record against Newcastle at Villa Park. Just one win for Newcastle in over a decade. Newcastle's striker worry, Isak, unsettled, gives Villa a slight edge, but expect a tight, entertaining affair. 2-1 to Aston Villa.
As ChatGPT practically agrees with me so far, we move over to the next game. Brighton and Hove Albion at the Amex Stadium, and they are facing the Cottagers, Fulham. And I always feel like, I could be statistically wrong, but from memory, I feel like Brighton start off their seasons very brightly. And the way their transfer window goes, they have lost João Pedro, and they might lose Belieber, but really, they've still got a fantastic side other than those two players, and their recruitment, I trust. What they like to do is just bring in these random young talents, and they have. And they've already got Junior Rutter and Danny Welbeck up front, so I think that's enough. And I think Brighton are just a better side in general than Fulham. Fulham, against any team they are going to face this year, like last year, it's always going to make it a close game. Against any team, they will put up a fight. But really, last year, they were very win a game, lose a game, win a game, lose a game. And they finished practically slap bang in the middle. So I feel like, especially with home advantage at the Amex Stadium, with all that I've said, I feel confident about Brighton, especially how they ended the season in the Premier League. I feel very confident. I'm going 2-1 to Brighton and Hove Albion under the young Fabian Hürzeler.
Brighton at the Amex Stadium, facing Fulham is going to be interesting. Both sides play attractive football and can be brittle defensively early season. Brighton's home comforts balanced by Fulham's solid structure. I see an entertaining opening, a Desmond 2-2 between Brighton and Fulham.
Over to the Stadium of Light, it's Sunderland versus West Ham United. Sunderland, I think you've done a fantastic job. Granit Xhaka, I've said it in my Premier League predictions that I did yesterday, massive pickup there. And they haven't just brought him in, they've brought in like 10 other players doing a very similar thing to Nottingham Forest. But coming into this game specifically, I feel like because it's at home, because Sunderland are such a big club, and the way everything is going, all their transfers, all the fans being very proud of the project, the new ownership from a few years ago, the youngest chairman ever or something like that, the happiness of promotion, I feel like all that has to mean something, and because they're so happy, they're just going to thrive. I don't think it's going to be like it throughout the entire season. West Ham is one of the best teams to start off with, so if they're going to get a win, it's going to be against a team like West Ham United. They have lost Kudus, and overall, under Graham Potter, they haven't looked amazing last year. They did get a few wins in their last 5 games though, so I could be completely wrong. I am tempted to go for a draw, but all the momentum, all the happiness, all the transfers that Sunderland are doing, I feel like they will win this 2-1, but going into future game weeks, I'm probably not going to be as generous on Sunderland, as it's still going to take time to properly get used to all these new players. But for the first game week against West Ham, which is one of the weaker sides of the Premier League, I feel pretty happy saying 2-1.
The Stadium of Light is going to be absolutely thriving as Sunderland face West Ham United. Sunderland will have the Stadium of Light buzzing for their Premier League return, and the crowd could give them an early lift. But I think it's going to be 2-1 to West Ham United. West Ham's squad is packed with top-flight experience, and they've got players who can punish even small defensive lapses, especially from set pieces. Sunderland might nick a goal through pure energy, but over 90 minutes, West Ham's know-how and composure should see them edge it.
Over to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, it's Tottenham Hotspur versus Burnley, and I think this one's quite self-explanatory to predict. Burnley, I think, are going to win this 3-0. Psych! 3-0 to Tottenham. Of course I'm not going 3-0 Burnley. That would be something like the random number generator would do. In fact, it has sort of. It said 6-2 to Burnley. I think everyone knows why. Thomas Frank is in charge of Tottenham now instead of Ange. It's a fresh new season. Yes, they do have a few injuries. I don't think Kulusevski will be available. Neither will James Maddison. But overall, they've still got a good side despite a few injuries. But under Thomas Frank, even with the injuries, he's a good enough manager to gel everyone together. And the good thing with Thomas Frank is he's very good at changing up his tactics depending on the circumstances. So against Burnley, against a very defensive Burnley, I still feel like Burnley are going to struggle. But I feel like maybe at halftime it'll be 0-0 or something because of how good Burnley's defence is. And really, underrated goalkeeper Martin Dubravka as well. But really, Tottenham Hotspur will pull through in the second half and thrash them.
Tottenham Hotspur should win this quite easily. Spurs, now with Thomas Frank at the helm, face a slippery Burnley, who are promoted. Home comfort and a manager with fresh ideas should see Spurs dominate. Spurs to win it 2-0 over Burnley.
To the Molineux Stadium, it's Wolverhampton Wanderers versus Man City. Look, Wolves, you've lost a lot of your key players, and even at home against Man City, which I know starts off seasons very well, you've got no chance against Man City, I'm afraid. I will give you a goal, but other than that, I see Man City pulling through. I'm going 3-1 to Manchester City. I mean, they've still got a fantastic side, despite no De Bruyne, and even no Rodri, because they've got enough squad depth to beat Wolves, which is one of the weakest teams, in my opinion, in the Premier League. And I feel like Erling Haaland is going to start off the season with goals.
Molineux is a trickier away day. Wolves are compact, defend the box well and break fast. But City usually suffocate these games. Long spells of 60 to 70% possession, patient recycling until the angle opens. Haaland's runs pin centre-backs, wide overloads drag full-backs, and late runners hoover up second balls. Wolves can nick one in transition or from a set piece, but over 90 minutes, City's control and bench firepower tilt it 3-1 to Manchester City.
Over to Stamford Bridge, Chelsea versus Crystal Palace. A bit of a London derby, and Crystal Palace has won the Community Shield as well as the FA Cup. And Crystal Palace, they looked pretty good against Liverpool. I'm going to assume they're going to have all their players coming into this. I have heard Mark Gay and Eze will be leaving, and they are rumoured with Harvey Elliott to replace Eze. They are going to have a decently strong side because they have won these incredible tournaments. But going to Stamford Bridge, and Chelsea being Chelsea on being fantastic in pre-season and thrashing PSG, thrashing Milan, it just feels like a no-brainer to go Chelsea. Crystal Palace, you are a good team, but the way Chelsea are playing is on another level compared to you. I'm going 3-1 Chelsea. I've got confidence about Chelsea this year.
London derby at the Bridge. Chelsea should control territory and shot volume, especially from overlaps and set pieces, which usually cracks Palace's mid-block at least twice. Palace's counters make it nervy. They can nick one in transition, but Chelsea's home control and bench options tilt it 2-1 to Chelsea.
Over to the City ground, it's Nottingham Forest, and they are facing Brentford. Nottingham Forest, your defence seems to be doing well in pre-season, but you've had 5 0-0 draws. Nottingham Forest, in the comments, tell me what you think, because 0-0 draws is not the way you want to be going. I'm going low scoring. I'm going 1-0 to Nottingham Forest. Their defence is fantastic, possibly one of the best defensive partnerships, and Sells is still there, but it looks like you're probably missing Elanga in the attack there. But I still feel like you're a better squad than Brentford, and Brentford, with all these changes, it's going to take a while for you to start getting points. So away from home as well, you've got no chance. But it is going to be low scoring because the way Nottingham Forest in pre-season has been.
Nottingham Forest and Brentford. Two mid-table sides meeting at home. Expect a close contest. Both will set up well defensively and share the spoils. Nottingham Forest 1, Brentford 1.
Over to possibly what people will say the biggest game of the week, alongside Aston Villa and Newcastle. It's at Old Trafford. It's Manchester United versus the Gunners. Obviously, Man United going under loads of changes, but so is the Gunners. And I'm going to start off with ChatGPT's prediction to see what ChatGPT thinks.
Big opener with storylines everywhere. United had a horrific 2024/25 season, while Arsenal's new signings, Victor Gyökeres and Zubimendi, need time. Both hungry. I'm calling a hard-fought draw. Manchester United 1, Arsenal 1.
A 1-1 draw is kind of crazy, and I see where it comes from. Maybe Arsenal signings need some time to gel, but surely so do Manchester United signings. But another reason why I feel like a 1-1 draw makes sense, not just because signings need to gel like ChatGPT says, But I feel like Man United, they're at home, you have to remember, home advantage. But also last season, Man United for some reason were playing pretty decent against the top 6 clubs like Liverpool, Arsenal, so on and so forth. I thought they were doing pretty well against specifically them. So I feel like they're, especially for the first game of the season, and with all these transfers, I feel like it's going to be a very close game. And they're going to look very good, Man United, in this first game. But they're not going to win it. Arsenal have just got that quality step up. They're going to win it 2-1. But trust me, it could be late drama in this one, and I would not be surprised for a draw. But their goalkeeper situation still needs to be sorted out, so I'm a bit concerned there. Monday night kickoff, Leeds United at Ellen Road versus Everton. And this one, oh, it's going to be a tasty matchup. Leeds United, newly promoted, and they are busy peacocks in the transfer window, aren't they? They're rumoured with numerous strikers like Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and they've already brought in Nemeka. And I'm just thinking, Everton, if there would be a winner, I'm going towards Everton because their project has been fantastic. Jack Grealish of all people is there. That's crazy. And they've made other great signings to replace Decore. They brought in Dewsbury Hall, and David Moyes at the helm is definitely going to be good. And I feel like it's going to be low scoring. No more than 2 goals I feel like are going to go in. With Jordan Pickford in goal, we already know what he's capable of. And James Tawaski making great interceptions and blocks, I feel like can really hinder Leeds United's attack. But I feel like it's going to be a close game. Maybe stats going towards Everton. But it's going to be 1-0 to Everton, maybe around the 60th or something minute. But with Ellen Road cheering on and everything, Leeds United are going to utilise Dan James. Dan James's pace is going to run down that right flank, and then he's going to pass it into one of the attackers for Leeds, and it's going to be a simple little tap-in because Dan James is just rapid, and I feel like he's going to cause havoc. Under that rocking Ellen Road, they are not starting off with a loss. A draw definitely seems reasonable.
Big Monday night kickoff under the lights at Elland Road. Leeds' high press and new signings, plus the base squad that's already there, should force errors and create chances. Moyes' well-drilled Everton, boosted by a couple of smart summer additions like Jack Grealish, will threaten on counters and set pieces, but Leeds' tempo and crowd energy tip it. 2-1 to Leeds United.
There we go, the predictions for week 1 is over. Let me know what you think of all of our predictions. Let me know what you think of this new ChatGPT and random number generator experiment that I'm doing. But go check out my teaser trailer. It's only 53 seconds on a movie that I am creating. Obviously, it's not going to be a Hollywood set movie. It's going to be a movie about a fictional Loons FC club. Obviously, it's going to be using FC 25 and FC 26. But go check it out. But mainly, have a lovely day. Toodaloo!